That is a nice looking shot, right?
That's a little bit different than yesterday.
It's not how I picture it. Actually, what we don't say is that's actually from June, so it's not actually a live shot. I'm just kidding, it is. Well, I got you for a second, though.
You did. It made me think. I was like, does it look that much different in June?
The secret behind the scenes broadcast. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. It's our daily show here from Digital Trends, where we bring you the trending tech topics of the day, keeping you up to date on the news and all kinds of interviews and other segments that we have throughout the show. We're broadcasting live from Portland, Oregon, here in this studio. And
sunny Portland, Oregon.
Sunny Portland, Oregon, indeed. Contrary to the national news where there's a train stuck in the snow somewhere.
That sounds horrifying.
That's like 2 hours away. So
you've seen Snowpiercer, right?
No, what's that?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, I'm afraid. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about it. I've seen way too many shows of people getting stuck in the snow and then, terrible things happen. All right, but that's not here. So we're broadcasting live across all of our different platforms, which means we can take your comments and your questions as we go through. So Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn Live, all broadcasting on those platforms right now, where we can take comments and feedback as we go through the show. Let's kind of run down just a little bit of what we have on the show today, in addition to keeping you up to date on the news and headlines and our Read 'em and Weep segment. We have a special guest, Jason Dodier, I believe is how you say his name, from Shoperr, and he's going to be on here talking about influencer marketing. So influencers are a big part of marketing, big part of our lives now. If you follow anybody on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. Influencer marketing is huge, and Shoperr is kind of a platform for that, so he's going to walk through kind of the details of that. We've got Ronan Glon, our automotive editor, who's going to be on from wherever in the world he is. I have no idea. You never know where Ronan is, but he is going to be on talking about bringing us up to date on some tech and automotive news, including Apple's new potential iVan. Yes, not an iCar, an iVan. Maybe something that they're making. So we'll be talking about that. But right now, we're here in studio, like I said, in Portland, Oregon. I'm Greg Nibbler, joined by Adrienne Warner. Hello, Adrienne.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, yeah.
Good.
I'm glad I'm not on a train.
Yeah, me too. Wherever you are, if you're watching us on the train, congratulations, you still have power.
You still have
good
Wi-Fi.
For you. Or however you're finding us. I know we have some people that are tuning in. I believe somebody said from Tanzania.
Awesome.
We've got, across all of our different platforms, like I said, you can tune in, drop in your comments and questions, and I will get to those as we go through. Let's, though, talk about some news right now. So if you didn't know, Mobile World Congress is going on right now, and that is the world's largest mobile technology convention happening in Barcelona. And we've got lots of news, bringing you up to date at digitaltrends.com.
Yeah, we've had lots of amazing announcements from different mobile companies across the world.
Yeah.
Essentially debuting like their crazy innovations for the past couple of days.
Right.
So we're just seeing a steady stream of news. Obviously, you can check that all out on digitaltrends.com. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about 5G.
Yeah, 5G, definitely kind of an overall theme at MW. Not surprising, between foldable phones and some of the phone technology, which that you can read more about at Digital Trends. But I wanted to hit on just a little bit of the 5G stuff, because we're getting some of the conventions, or some of the conferences, rather, where we're hearing some of the heads of these different tech companies talking about 5G and how it's going to change things. And there was one yesterday. It was with OnePlus, Qualcomm, and EE, which, if you don't know, EE is a mobile provider in the UK.
I did not know that.
I did not know that either until today. So we all learned something right there. So EE, anyway, they were part of this as well. And they had something that they're calling the 5G Apps of Tomorrow competition. And it's focusing not just on what the phones are going to look like, but talking about the actual software. And I think that's where it gets really exciting for people, once you start realizing what this can really do for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about how 5G is going to improve everybody's lives, but we don't quite know when that's going to happen and in what stages. And they kind of go into a little bit more about the different evolutions of 5G, including bringing cloud data to be more accessible and treated the same way as local data, AI and AI-managed devices, and then basically just things being so interconnected within about 5 to 10 years that you will have access to literally everything when you need it.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting once you start really reading about that. I mean, there's a couple of things with 5G. As we've said before here on DT, it's not going to be happening tomorrow. You're not going to have this tomorrow. You probably won't have it by the end of the year. It's looking like 2020 may be the year where we start seeing more and more actual rollout to where we'll actually be able to get these. You can buy some 5G phones now, but unless you're in really really specific areas, you're not going to really be able to utilize it. However, once it does get going, like you were saying, like that cloud data aspect, think about wherever you are, you would have immediate access to your data. All that stuff that we're storing in the clouds right now, that latency and that time of downloading things, that's gone. It's almost instantaneous, to where it's just like it's on your device. And that's just starting off with it. And then rolling out, 5 years later, we get the AI connected devices, which is
very exciting.
It's exciting, and that's where it gets
a little
interesting.
Scary.
Yeah, that's when we start really seeing things that can manage themselves. I think it'll have a big influence on the automotive industry.
I think so too. Yeah, with essentially autonomous vehicles cannot operate without 5G. That's going to be the only way that this can be a reality, except for like in just little test grounds, like for it to be universal.
Yeah. Yep, I think that's exactly it, because 5G is going to really help make that happen. I mean, our smart homes are going to be a whole different thing. And so all of that is just as this 5G rolls out. And they've been kind of talking about this, and we've got an article at Digital Trends you can take a look at. And it's exciting stuff. And the other thing that a lot of people are saying is that it's going to start a new age of inventions, because we don't even know what we're going to be able to do with it yet.
Yeah, so this kind of kickstarts a little bit of that invention process. So there will be 5 winners, and they get a 5G mobile device, and then they get a 1 year's funding to make whatever their ideas are happen, which is really cool.
It is.
It gives people a little bit more onus into the process of 5G and what we can use it for.
Yeah, thinking outside the box about where it's going to go. Yeah, what it's going to do for us. It's exciting stuff. And so all of this is, we're kind of at the precipice of it right now. So just think, each year as we go on now, more and more inventions are going to come out, more and more applications and utilizations of this kind of technology are going to happen for us. So it's an exciting point to be learning about technology.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. What can I say? Yeah, so talking about that, so that's just the 5G comments and the 5G different news that are coming out of Mobile World Congress. So you can read up on that at digitaltrends.com. Really exciting stuff. Let us know what you think. Are you excited about this, or what would you like to see it be used for? You can leave us all those comments and questions either live or afterward, because we do read the comments no matter when they come up. And that leads us to our next section, which is Read 'em and Weep. Read 'em and Weep is where we take a look at some of the comments that have come through across our many different platforms. Over 24 hours or so, we'll say, people leave all kinds of different things.
Yes.
On our
all
videos,
kinds of things that we read out loud.
that we read out loud live here on the show. Adrian and myself have not seen any of these as we go through this. So this comes from Paul Ruh on YouTube. Oh, regarding Top Gun Maverick, everything we know so far. It's going to be Maverick coaching Goose's son, played by Michael B. Jordan. I wish it was Michael B. Jordan. But I bet you're right on that. So talking about the new Top Gun movie, that's totally what it's going to be.
I've never seen original Top Gun. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God. I want to apologize to Paul right now and to all of our viewers for what just happened on this show. It was really not intended. We are live. These things do happen. You haven't seen Top Gun?
I've never seen Top Gun.
Oh, man, Adrian. All right, we're going to have some kind of a DT viewing party of Top Gun.
I think so.
Just to know the references, if nothing else.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen enough clips to know that they're super iconic moments that I am missing out dearly on.
I mean, I don't know if not that much, but it's just, you do need to see it, I think. I mean, you get Iceman. Iceman. Okay, boy. Paul, again, you're right. I do think it is going to be Goose's son. And played by Michael B. Jordan. I think at some point we should have Adrian, just since you've just seen the clips, you should just tell us what you think it's about.
Okay, I think that there is a goose. And he has a son. He gets a gun.
Yes.
He becomes a maverick.
Yes.
Goes on tour.
Nailed it. There it is. All right, so that's
I think
Adrian's
I should do live commentary
synopsis of Top Gun.
over the sequel without watching the initial one at all.
All right, Luke Bell, regarding Samsung 2018 QLED TV lineup deep dive. How can this tech guy not remember his Wi-Fi password?
Ha 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 ha. Do you remember your Wi-Fi password, Luke Bell?
I do.
Does anybody remember their Wi-Fi password?
Actually,
if it's simple enough that you can remember, it is not safe enough.
There we go. Tech tip with Adrian right there.
Tip.
That's true. I actually use Chrome, and when it does the autofill password.
I would be lost without that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'd use. So.
I set my Wi-Fi password so long ago that it's written somewhere on an index card in my apartment. But the safety of it is that no one knows where that index card is.
Right, until the spies break in and find your index card, and then they'll crack it. That's something like that.
And then they'll get 40 40 megs of download power.
Mavericks on it. All right. Kingsley W. Nelson. Regarding Samsung Galaxy S10 versus S10 Plus versus S10e versus S10 5G, which should you buy? None. A fool and his money are soon part.
Ah, yes. Thank you, Kingsley.
Kingsley Nelson.
W. Nelson. With that wise piece of wisdom.
Kingsley's got a monocle, he's got a top hat, and he is sitting there, high society, some kind of a English tycoon, I believe.
He has a fair point. I mean, all of those devices have insane price tags.
They do. It's true. They are expensive. But I mean, that's kind of where all these phones are going right
absolutely.
now. Yeah, the money. Well, Kingsley, thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Alston, regarding this flashlight, can produce 4,100 lumens and can burn through anything. Sorry, I do not see how life for ants with this product ends well. ERs, FDs, and YouTube now have another source of income. Events. Gentlemen, start your lawyers. Okay. I'm very confused by what happened.
Do the ants have lawyers?
I'm not sure how the ants are incorporated in here, but again, we do read the comments, and that's what we're reading them live with you. If you're watching live, help us interpret that. Let me know what Brian was trying to say, or Brian, if you're watching live, please explain yourself. I'm not sure how the ants are involved in this, but nonetheless, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh boy. Okay, Brian. All right.
All right. Wade Barker.
Wade Barker
messages us. These are the best racing games of all time. Where's Road Rash? Where are 3 different Mario Kart games on this list? Who reviewed and made this list? A 5-year-old?
5-year-old. I don't know. I'd have to take a look about who did the best racing games of all time.
Too. Pretty sure that was a recent article, but
a recent one. Okay, we'll have to take a look. Wade, you know, you're welcome to dispute that. And that's fair. I mean, we'll certainly bring it to the upper management, and we'll let them know that Road Rash was not included.
I feel like all racing games kind of become the same. They fade into each other after a while.
Adrian.
No?
I'm just kidding. No, I totally agree. All right. Well, anyway, sorry. We will bring attention to that, Wade. You are welcome to leave your comments on there anytime you want. All right. Let's move on to talk about some more news here. And I am seeing some comments come through across the different platforms. Like I said, since we are broadcasting live, Keelan says, LOL, he just said Iceman like that was a conversation starter. Say no more, bro. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Thank you, Keelan.
Fair enough. All right. Let's talk about some things that are in the news. So up next, this has to do with Lime. Lime scooters, probably a lot of us have tried one of these electronic scooters. At least if you live in a major city, you've probably tried them at some point, or at least seen them. And something that is a little bit terrifying has actually been happening with Lime scooters. And it turns out there's a flaw in the firmware that will allow for sudden excessive braking that you don't control when going downhill.
Which, yeah, seems pretty hazardous.
Seems like an issue. That would definitely be an issue. So these things can go up to 15 miles an hour.
But if they go on the top of a hill, obviously it can be going a lot faster.
Yeah. And so it's uncontrolled, I guess, braking that can just happen. Or I guess you might be doing light braking, but in rare circumstances, it's causing excessive braking.
Yes, it sounds like it might also be instigated by hitting an obstacle, a pothole, or another obstacle
which is the worst, makes it even worse.
Makes it even worse. So I guess that's apparently when the brake force can apply to the front wheel. Okay. So I can only imagine a toppling effect happening. Yeah, you're gonna fall. It's gonna hurt, and this is something, you know, with more and more of these scooters out there, it kind of brings up other issues. You think about, okay, if this is a firmware update from you, who else can get in there to this firmware? What's going on with that side of it? Definitely something to be concerned about. Also, a lot of talk about safety regulations as cities are rolling these out. People are starting to pull them back or talk about the mandatory use of helmets, things like that, before they actually get the city to adopt them. And
in all fairness, Lime has said that the braking issue has happened in 0.0045% of their scooters. But they are worldwide. I mean, they are in a lot of different countries, so which means it's happened. If it happens at all, that's a big concern.
Exactly.
And they've already recently spent $3 million on a campaign to encourage its users to ride more safely and responsibly, but this is kind of on them. They said that they are issuing an update. They did say, though, if you do use a Lime scooter, maybe test out the brakes before you take it, just as a sign of precaution, and just be careful.
I mean, this is kind of scary considering it's the company's based in San Francisco where there are a lot of hills.
Yeah, a lot of hills, and it's just one of those things that you hope they can get that figured out.
I really don't want to play scooter roulette every time I get on there.
Not at all. Yeah, we've talked a lot about electric scooters and e-bikes here on the show. I will say we have a podcast called Trends with Benefits, and I believe it was the week before last. We kind of went in depth with these, with just talking about e-scooters and where it's going. And everything with that. Adrian and I are on that show, so you can check that out. Hit subscribe to Trends with Benefits wherever you get podcasts, and we go in depth with that a little bit more. But yeah, scary stuff. Sounds like they're working on it. Just be aware if you do ride a Lime scooter, test out the brakes first. All right, another thing trending in the news right now, and that has to do with Apple, which they had a shot on an iPhone photography challenge.
Yeah, it sounds like they were looking for 10 winners to feature essentially across like all Apple advertising around the world. So anything shot on an iPhone, which there were a whole panel of professional judges looking at these pictures, selecting them. They'll be on billboards, in retail stores, Apple Twitter accounts, etc. And some of them are truly spectacular.
This is one that Tim Cook actually posted today, kind of a whole capture thing there of the Grand Canyon, which is really, really cool. I like this one.
Amazing.
I want to make sure I got the name. Austin Mann, that's who shot that one. So that was the one that Tim Cook posted. But then some of the other images, and you can check these all out. We just grabbed a few of them. There's Bernard and Lynn, so just kind of a black and white rustic setting, which is pretty cool.
Very Ansel Adams.
Yes, very Ansel Adams. A lot of these were shot, they were shot from a variety of phones, from an iPhone 7 through an iPhone 10s. We got a raccoon. That raccoon looks angry, but nonetheless, I want to know what happened after that shot, because you shouldn't be able to get that close to him. And then there's this one, which I'm not even sure what this is. Oh, yeah, it's the reflection through the puddle.
It's a reflection through a puddle, yeah.
Very cool.
Which it looks like there's kind of another similar one.
Yeah, the puddle's being used through there. That's kind of a good idea.
It's really amazing, too. There's even some selects from, like, with iPhone 6s, which, by this point, the camera is pretty old considering all of the hardware that's gone into the newer iPhones. And the pictures are gorgeous.
And the pictures are still amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with that, I probably wouldn't be able to shoot anything like that. But still, it's nice to know it's possible.
You wouldn't shoot a Top Gun reboot on your iPhone?
Oh, sure. Yeah. If somebody wants to, get me into the plane, get me into the cockpit, I can say this. I'll take the MiGs down. All right. So, But that's kind of where we're at. So that was the iPhone competition. Want to make sure that we do about that. So the iPhone shot competition, 10 winners, and you'll probably be seeing these photos around.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's where we are with that. Send us in your pictures if you've taken some really good ones. All right, let's go on to some other news topics here that we have. This one, I think, directly affects us. This is kind of one that could take away what we do. I'm talking about China. So if you followed along with this, the Xinhua news agency debuted a male AI anchor last year. So this was in November of last year, where this is somebody so this AI is actually the image is based on a real person. Then put into an AI software. And the way it handles the news is it kind of scans all of the other broadcasts and all the other news that's coming out, and then takes that and compiles it into an actual news report.
That's crazy. Yeah,
yes.
It's I guess the purpose is to bolster the 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah. To
be reporting on things when physical journalists can't actually be there.
Right. And so that's something that they've been using since, like I said, since November. And they've now said that they've done so well with this that they have added in some more news anchors.
Yes.
And they now have the female version. Let's see, the name of the anchor is Q Hao. And there she is. That's a still image. We've got a video of her as well. And that's like just on this still image, if you didn't know, would you think that's a real person?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I would too.
I assume that this one also may be based off of a real person.
I believe so. I believe so. She hasn't 100% come out yet. So now you can kind of see, because there's that uncanny.
Yeah, there's that
valley
uncanny where the top half of the face doesn't really move.
Yeah, just like
she's Xin Xiao Meng. Yeah.
Yeah, and so. So yeah, you can see her there, just kind of talking to it. I will serve as your broadcaster. So the 2 sessions is basically the Chinese political conference that happens. And so that's when they're going to debut her.
Ah, I see.
Having her talking with that. Like, how do you feel about getting the news from AI?
I think that there's a disconnect between it. I'm fine with AI taking a part in compiling news reporting. I think that delivery should be done by real people because there needs to be an emotional connection to the story in order to effectively communicate it. I think that that's really important, honestly.
Right.
It sounds like
I agree.
The news agency has published some sort of about 3,400 reports since November, totaling over 10,000 minutes in length.
That's a lot.
There's a lot of AI going on in the background there.
Those of you that are watching live, what do you think? Would you rather hear from, it's Q How?
Yeah, would you rather hear from Greg Nibbler, or would you rather hear from Nibblerbot?
I'll pretend to be whatever you want. I'll be the Nibblerbot. Raymond said the lip movement is off. It's slightly, but really close.
It's very close.
Yeah,
I think if you were walking by it, you wouldn't notice at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think if you weren't really paying attention. I mean, once you look closer, but the thing is, this is just the first version, too. Because the one thing I can see is, with the clothing, they did say that they're updating the original male version to where he's going to be fully standing and actually be able to use, like, hand gestures and interact.
Gotcha.
I think eventually they want these two to interact. So that we're delivering a news report like we are, only robots, which is not something that's cool.
I mean, I'm just happy that they made the male anchor a friend.
That they're buddies? Yeah.
That they're buddies.
They are buddies.
That's good. AI news report.
Yeah, the AI news report pals. Well, that's kind of where we're at with that. So I think it's interesting, but I don't like it.
How do you? Yeah, you don't like it.
I don't like it. Yeah, I mean.
What do you think it's lacking at this moment?
Well, that's the problem. It's not lacking a lot. I think, like you said, like just that emotional connection, the ability to make mistakes and have something, while you're broadcasting live, or because I like broadcasting live here. I like this kind of show, like this kind of thing where we're interacting with you. Something goes wrong, we'll just say, hey, wasn't sure what I was doing there. But I don't know if I like this kind of news delivery.
Yeah.
Maybe for something basic. I guess I could see it for basic news updates if we're talking about like an Alexa style update.
Right.
Of like, here are the top 5 stories.
Here are the headlines.
Like just facts.
Yeah, I can think about
no
like
opinion.
Honestly in when there's like news headlines during a radio show in between like the traffic segment and the rest of the programming, I feel like that could be read by AI.
Yeah.
As much as it would take away probably a real person's job, but
right, but I mean at least that's not going too far. It's just taking basic curated facts. I mean there are a lot of news agencies right now, like the AP uses it, I know. I believe Forbes, and there's probably some other ones as well, where they use AI to curate those kinds of reports, and they do written word reports.
And this is another topic that we've covered on Trends with Benefits.
It is indeed, yeah. We've hit all of this here. So Trends with Benefits, hit subscribe on that one. All right, well, I know we're getting ready to go to a break here because we're going to have our next guest on to talk about Shoperr. But I want to say thank you to everybody tuning in. So we are broadcasting live right now. We're not robots. We're not AI.
Nope, we're real.
We read your comments, good or bad. We read them. So you can drop those comments in there with us and let us know what you think. Adrian, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. And then we're going to be coming back live with Jason from Shoperr to talk about everything they're doing with the influencer marketing program that they've got. So stick right with us. Back in a second with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Wherever you're finding us, we really do appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. And since we are broadcasting live, we can take your comments and questions as we go through this show. And one of the fun things we get to do here is have great interviews. And right now, we're very excited to be joined by Jason Dodier of Shoperr. Hello, Jason.
How are you? Thank you so much for having me today.
Thanks for joining us. You know, one of the terms that I think has really kind of entered our collective zeitgeist, I don't know what the right word would be, but I'm talking about influencer marketing. That term influencer marketing has become something that I think no matter where you're at, even if you're not in the business world, if you're just a consumer, wherever you fall on that, we know what the term influencer marketing is. And what you're doing is really interesting with this platform that you're working for. And I wonder if maybe you could just walk through with us to start off and explain maybe what exactly Shoperr is and how it fits into the business culture.
It'd be a pleasure to do that. And really, Shoperr came about, we saw a massive, basically social media and social commerce becoming intertwined. And influencers have increasingly played a bigger role in society, especially when it comes to brands and making overall recommendations. And we identified that earlier on, and we essentially looked at building a platform where users could share products and services that they love and believe in, and really make authentic recommendations. A lot of what we do is based around authenticity, and it's based around really improving consumers, influencers' overall digital business acumen. That's one of the key pieces of it. But our ambition is to really lift up these influencers, specifically nano and micro, which I'm sure we'll go into more detail on the program, but lifting them up, changing their perspective, and allowing them to transact and work with brands, agencies, and ultimately the consumers that they serve in the easiest manner possible. And that was really the root of where Shoperr came from, allowing you to build authentic shops with brands and products you love in minutes, mere minutes. It's literally dummy proof.
Well, let's actually go to that then. Let's get another definition from you, if you don't mind. Like, what is your definition of a market influencer?
Yeah, so a market influencer is literally somebody that, for example, if you go to your local convenience store in town, somebody that you trust, somebody that you believe in, they use the products, they leverage the services, they're doing this day to day. It's somebody that you've built rapport with. We know that there are mega influencers in the market today that have over 500,000 followers, millions of folks that look at what they do and try to mirror what they're doing day to day in their lives. Our approach is we're looking at an influencer as somebody that's out there. We see the percentages and the numbers are clear. They're folks that you would consider that it's almost a friend. And they are the ones that you're going to follow, you're going to abide in and work with to develop and grow not only your own ambitions, but also your own businesses as well. And that's kind of what we're seeing as this trend of nano and micro influencers is really starting to take off here in the US and the world over.
So say somebody is a nano or a micro influencer, how do they then jump into this platform?
Right, so it's really, really simple the way we set it up. So they can come look at the Shoperr platform. It's a self-serve platform, so it's gonna allow them to be, it's a central repository, if you will. So most of these folks have different channels, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, video content. You take all of that information, you bring it here, and then you have access to world-class brands and services. Everything, you know, you can leverage the Best Buys and the Amazons, Sephora's, whatever your specialty is, even your own products that are out in the market. You take those to a granular level and you bring it to Shoperr. You could design different shops based on a variety of contexts and content, or create your own higher level shop combining different things and different items like that. And it's really clear, clean, and concise. And as you know, most nano influencers, micro influencers, folks that are starting their own businesses don't necessarily have the working capital to make these kind of investments. So we give them the full logistics, the portal. We have smart link technology. So it allows them to really monetize the products they're selling in the most efficient way, looking at the products that they want to represent that's going to pay the highest referral fees and compensation. We're going to manage their real-time pay structure, so accounts receivable, and also the logistics is taken care of on the back end. So we're giving them that full scope, everything that they would need to build a business at minimal cost. And they're building their brands today using Shoperr. So we're really proud of that.
So that's really interesting. So it's, I mean, so you handle the affiliate links, you kind of bring them to the things that they're going to be able to sell the most. So how does the pay structure work? So if somebody signs up to be an influencer, is there a monthly fee, or is it a percentage of the affiliate links? How does that work?
No, it's a great question. At the end of the day, there's no fee to join Shoperr, and Shoperr is really the back end. We want this to be you building your unique brand on our platform. There's nothing to do with Shoperr. And then in terms of the fee structure goes, yes, it's affiliate commissions that are predetermined based on relationships we've got with certain brands, and of course with certain agencies that we may work with in the future. So you're getting a set commission based on the product, and then there's also a really unique referral system in there. If you refer influencers and other content providers onto our platform, you will also get a potential cut of that revenue as well that's coming. But there is no cost to join Shoperr. We encourage folks to join and create as many shops as they want at their convenience.
So if somebody goes on there and creates their shop, how do they integrate that? You know, because you said that you want that kind of being the back end, like how this all works. How do they integrate it into that? Say it's an Instagram influencer or a YouTube influencer. How do they put this into their platform?
Right. So what we love about this is a lot of the technologies on the market today are link-based. So you go to somebody's YouTube page, you go to their social media, and you just see a ton of different links. Shoperr is essentially one link. So it's going to be one terminal. You click on that, you integrate it wherever you're telling your stories, you're showing your videos. It's completely interactive. That's actually how Shoperr started, was to be able to provide more how-to content. So look at a video, click on that video, and understand what all the pieces are that make up what you're trying to do, whether it's makeup, it's type of design, or a craft that you're a specialist in. So just taking that one link, clicking that, and that one link is going to provide everything for you. So that's the easiest way to interact. So you take a link to your shop and you embed it in whatever methodology or platform that you're using or you prefer to communicate day to day with your followers and the people that you're having an impact in their lives. So that's really, it's as simple as that. It's just, we provide one link as opposed to having 50 different links and take the confusion out of the process.
Yeah, I mean, that does sounds like it, simplifies it down quite a bit. And influencer marketing is not something that's going away. I mean, this is only going to increase. And like you said, even down to that, micro nano level, like just influencing your friends, your friend group, or people and whatever expertise that is. I mean, you have stuff all the way up to, like the Kendall Jenners of the world or whatever, Fire Festival, type of influencers, with everything that happened with that. But that type of thing isn't going away. So where do you see this going as we go forward?
The trends are clear, and we spend a lot of time analyzing the trends because it's important, because it validates everything. It's the lifeblood of our business. We know, when we look at the nanos and micros in particular, the numbers are extensive. Over 80% of people are highly likely to follow the recommendations of influencers. Over 90% look at their friends, right? Friends in terms of which brands do we buy, and then look at the broad market. If you look at trends on Google, influencer marketing has nearly tripled in just the last year in terms of the average monthly searches, right? Ad spending on marketing is going to be approaching $10 billion. This is influencer marketing spending by 2022. And then you look at the amount that's being spent on Instagram. Just Instagram alone in the influencer space is approaching $2 billion this year. It's a massive market. And again, our mission is to give those nanos, give the individual influencers and the micro influencers the opportunity to play in this space and have a voice. And if you look at even e-commerce sales, which we try to monitor as closely as possible, e-commerce, especially among millennials, Gen Z, we're getting closer and closer to $1 trillion being done in business, in real-time commerce on these platforms. So the statistics are staggering, and it's not area code specific. And Shoperr is living proof of that. Our brand is synonymous now with the global marketplace and what's happening. We're proud of that, to say that we've got influencers using our platform all over the world, not just the United States, but in Europe, Israel, obviously, and other places. So that's something that's really, really important. The democratization of data, and we are definitely riding that trend strongly.
That's great. Well, it's an exciting new world to see how this is all going to work out, and you guys it sounds like are right at the forefront of this. So how can someone go there? Is it the easiest way just to go to shoperr.com, sign up for an account? Is it just that simple?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way today is definitely go on the website, sign up, play around with it. we've got folks working around the clock, one, behind the scenes, to make sure that our algorithms, our intelligence, artificial intelligence, the way we're able to communicate and build based on the feedback we're getting from influencers in the marketplace is ready in real time. But we've got an incredible team on standby to support folks if they need assistance with developing shops, rolling things out, answering questions, and then also talking about additional things that we're trying to do from a technological standpoint, which is very, very interesting as well, around data analytics, more on authenticity, the demand for chat bots, and artificial intelligence as well. These are all things that we can have those discussions with anybody that's interested.
Wow, that's fantastic. So really incorporating a lot of this newer technology into it as well. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on here. You know, it's really exciting to learn about some of these different aspects. And I think a lot of things for a lot of people, you know, this is a new area. So to find out how maybe they can even be a part of it with Shoperr.com, and best of luck and continued success.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time and look forward to seeing what kind of shop you and your colleagues can come up with.
Hey, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Thanks, Jason.
Yep. Bye for now.
All right, there we go. So everybody who's watching live, you know, there was a great interview with Jason Dodier of Shoperr. So one of the things that's fun about this show, since we're broadcasting live every day at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, we talk to all kinds of different people, whether it's entrepreneurs, somebody coming up with their new platform, or rethinking how we think about different kinds of technology that we're using right now. Coming up here in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be joined by Ronan Glon. Ronan is our automotive editor here at Digital Trends, talking about the exciting world of automotive and tech, because seriously, it's so intertwined at this point. There's a lot that's always happening with it. It's more and more tech is just really running our cars. There's some really cool things that are happening with that. And he's going to talk about the Geneva Auto Show. He's going to talk about Apple and their potential new vehicle and a bunch of other things. He's going to kind of educate all of us and bring us up to date with it, all right here while we're broadcasting live across all of our different platforms, which means we can take your comments, your questions. Let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know what you think about what you're hearing here on the show. We love to hear the feedback and we love to interact with you. So keep that up. Stick around right with us right now, because we'll be back here in just a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thanks everyone for joining us. 9 a.m. Pacific every weekday, noon Eastern. Hit subscribe to make sure you get to be with us here every morning, broadcasting live, interacting with you, taking your comments, your questions. One of the fun things here at Digital Trends is we cover so many different aspects of tech, and every couple of weeks we get to be joined by Ronan Glon. Ronan is our automotive editor here at Digital Trends. Hello, Ronan.
Hi, how's it going?
Doing well. Are you actually back at your house right now?
I am back at my house right now, yeah.
That's crazy, because I feel like every last time we've talked to you, you've been somewhere else in the world. So it's rare that Ronan is actually at home, but we get to catch him at home right now. And to bring us up to date with some of these really cool things that are going on in the world of automotive and tech. And I know we've got several things to get to, but you're going to be back on the road again in a couple of weeks, or maybe sooner, because the Geneva Auto Show is coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to be going to Geneva on Sunday for the auto show, and the press days are on Monday the 5th and Tuesday the 6th. So I'm looking forward to seeing what companies are going to unveil. It's going to be a fairly big show this year, too. There's going to be a lot to see there.
So it's already next week, so never mind. You're back out there this weekend. Well, what are some of the things that you're expecting from this year's auto show?
Well, Geneva is always a show that focuses on luxury, but in recent years, it's also focused on electric vehicles. So we're going to see a lot of high-end luxury cars. There's a new Koenigsegg, a new Aston Martin, but also a lot of electric vehicles. And what I've noticed is that going electric is bringing creativity back into concept cars. Volkswagen is bringing back a dune buggy, which is based on a modular platform that's going into production. And I hear that the dune buggy might actually reach production sooner or later. So that's kind of a cool concept. Subaru is going to have a high-performance concept called Visiv Adrenaline, which I don't know much about yet because companies are kind of keeping an element of surprise for the time being. But it's going to be kind of a taller WRX-like car with some kind of electrified drivetrain. And Kia, of all companies, is bringing this really, it looks almost bionic, the way that the photo makes it look. And that's going to be electric as well. It's also showcasing what possibilities going electric has in terms of design, in terms of how to make a car look.
I love that idea that it's bringing back, you know, more that they can conceptualize some different kinds of things. You know, think outside of the box of what we're so used to seeing with cars. The modular aspect is not something I actually thought of. How you could, I mean, in what ways could it be modular?
Well, it's modular because on an EV you have basically it's built around a massive battery pack that's almost the size of a mattress. So the passengers in most cases are sitting on the battery pack that feeds the motors, and the motors are usually on either end of the car over the wheels. So basically everything you need to make the car move, you're sitting on. So what's above that, be it the body, it can be a pickup truck, it can be a convertible, a station wagon, it doesn't matter. And that gives companies the ability to have just one platform in different bodies, which used to happen, you know, in the 1920s and 1930s. So we're going to see kind of a resurrection of the coach building industry, I think.
Really cool. And it sounds like a lot of different companies. I mean, even if Kia is getting involved in this, you know, somebody you wouldn't normally think of. That's really cool. So that's all happening at the Geneva Auto Show, and that's coming up. When was it again? Starting next week is that when our coverage will start going up?
Yeah. Yeah, the first preview events are scheduled for March 4th, which is Sunday, and the official press days, are March 5th and March 6th.
Anything else that you're looking forward to at it?
No, I mean, it's usually by this point, we know what we're going to see in Geneva. This year, companies are really keeping everything a secret. So I'm looking forward, if anything, to just see what's going to be there, because I don't know much about what's going to be unveiled at PAL Expo next week.
Well, that's exciting, because then you're going to find out and you can relay it directly to everybody who's a digital trends fan who can follow along and see what you find out when we go through that. Couple other things I know we want to get to, because it's always so much fun getting caught up to date. Do you want to talk about BMW?
Yeah, BMW traveled to the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. That's kind of the European equivalent of CES. And it introduced a technology called natural interaction, which lets users communicate with their car the way they communicate with a friend. So you can, it's going to track your eyes. So you can look at, for example, the heater controls, and it's going to know that you're trying to turn up the heater, which is pretty cool. There's also voice recognition, and it's natural voice recognition. So you don't have to talk like a robot. You can just say, hey, I'm cold, and the car is going to turn up the heat, or hey, I'm hot, and it's going to turn up the AC. And there's also gesture control, which is going to be, that's kind of a big technology coming up in all kinds of luxury cars and even mainstream cars. Gesture control, where you can point to an icon in the instrument cluster, for instance, or motion that you want to turn the volume up or down, and the car is going to react. So it's going to read your eyes, understand your voice, and know exactly what you're pointing to.
Wow, that's amazing. And so this is something that, again, that BMW is doing. So gesture controls, it's going to read your eyes. So it must have all kinds of, I mean, that's a lot of different kinds of sensors that it's going to be having in there. Like, how many cameras are involved in this?
BMW hasn't said yet, because the technology is not going to reach production until 2021. So all they've said right now is that we're going to do this, but they haven't said how. But yeah, I bet there's going to be a lot of sensors, maybe a half a dozen at least, in the cockpit, kind of watching you at all times.
Do you think, is this going to be something that's also going to incorporate any, I mean, we don't have to go down this, but we've been talking a lot about Mobile World Congress. Do you think any 5G incorporation is going to happen with something like that?
5G could definitely help. And what's interesting is BMW, the connected services, which connect basically the smartphone and the car, can play into that too, because with natural interaction, the car knows exactly where you are at any given time. So if you're on State Street and 32nd or whatever, it knows there's a Pizza Hut right there. You can point right to it, and the car is going to tell you what the reviews are, when it's open, etc. Or you can even point to a parking spot and know if it's free, what it costs to park there. And I think 5G is going to help that because you get rid of the latency between the phone and the car.
Wow, that's a weird concept. I don't think I want to be able to just like look at Pizza Hut and have it order something for me. That would be a terrible, terrible thing for me personally. But I like the idea of where that's going. That's a fascinating world. I mean, and you said that's like it's 2 years away for the BMW, or maybe even less. 2 years where we'll have that gesture control in the BMWs.
Gesture control is actually in a BMW right now, but the full package with gaze recognition is going to be in 2021. So
okay.
Maybe late 2021. So 2.5 years, we'll see.
I'm clearly not in the market for a new BMW, so I wasn't aware of that part. But yeah, so it's already out there for somebody. If you are getting a BMW, you might be able to get some of that now. That's fascinating stuff. And I'm sure we'll have articles at digitaltrends.com that people can check out more about that. All right, I'm already seeing the comments coming through. People are excited to talk about this. Apple and this iCar. I mean, we've heard rumors of an iCar for years and years, it feels like, that they've been working on this. But now we might have a little bit more information about maybe not a car, perhaps a van. Can you fill us up to date with where we're at on that?
Yeah, like you said, we've heard about the iCar, the Apple car, for years and years and years. And the rumors kind of went from will they and won't they to what's going to look like. We've seen renderings of what it might look like. Then we heard rumors that the car was canceled. Now, and these rumors are unverified, mind you, but there are insiders who allegedly spoke to a German magazine and said, this is what's going on. Apple is building not a car, but a van. It's going to be electric, it's going to be autonomous, and it's going to be fully connected, as you would expect from Apple.
So a van. So what is the purpose of going to a van instead of a car?
Well, there are several advantages to a van body style. And the first, I think, is that Apple wants to make this vehicle autonomous, and that requires so many sensors, so many cameras, etc., to help the car drive itself. And that's very difficult to package in a car because a car is usually low, it's kind of narrow, etc. A van is just a big box, really. And from what the insider said, Apple's car is going to be like the Volkswagen Transporter, which you see on the screen. So it's a fairly big van. It's not a massive moving van, but it's decently big. And you've got plenty of space to integrate all the sensors needed for autonomous driving.
That's so kind of like what you were talking about earlier, where you can have it underneath there, and so you have lots of room to add on modular aspects. Well, this is something where they can add on more cameras, all of that autonomous ability, probably added on with something like that.
Yeah, and there's another interesting aspect is that when you design a car, imagine Apple designing a BMW 3 Series or a Tesla Model S. It doesn't matter. That comes with certain expectations in terms of handling, in terms of design. People want something that looks good, that drives well. When you design a van, you know right off the bat that it's not going to drive like a 3 Series. It's not going to go around a corner like a Tesla. So
right.
Apple is kind of an easier way to the automotive industry designing a van because you don't have to make sure it handles or goes on a racetrack or whatever.
Which does seem a little bit, I mean, in my mind anyway, counterintuitive to what Apple normally does. A lot of their products are high-end, expensive products, a little bit of luxury, although I guess they do want to get them into everybody's hands. So maybe this is kind of trying to find a balance in there. I mean, it's not something that you think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the Apple van. But if it serves a really good purpose, then maybe that is something that people will want. Like, what do you think the actual purpose will be?
That's a very good question. So obviously Apple hasn't even confirmed it's making a car.
Yeah.
But the idea of it being a van, the iVan, if you want to call it that, raises the possibility that it's not the kind of car that you and I are going to be able to buy. You can't go into an Apple store and buy a van. It's going to be, I think, shared. It's going to be part of a ride-sharing program, kind of like the one Waymo launched in Arizona in December of 2018. So something you can pull out your iPhone, hail a van, and say, I want to go from point A to point B, and it's just going to show up, take you to your destination, and you can sit back, relax, listen to music, chat with friends, or get some work done without having to worry about driving. But I don't think you're going to be able to buy this van, not initially anyways, maybe in a few years down the road, but not at launch.
Interesting. How far out do you think we are? I mean, obviously, like you said, Apple's all under wraps. They haven't even admitted anything. I know there's, the Project Titan rumors and all kinds of different rumors that come out, but this does sound like it has a lot more legs. There's more legs under this one. Do we have any idea when we think that would come out?
No, we have no idea. And there were rumors in 2018, I believe, about claiming Apple would team up with Volkswagen to make this car. That would kind of fast track it to production because you wouldn't have to design the chassis, the running gear, the body. You would just take something that exists and fit your own tech to it. The latest rumors claim Apple is developing everything in-house. So even the battery electric drivetrain, even the seats, even the lug nuts will be designed by Apple. And this could take a considerable amount of time. That said, Apple has such a massive war chest that it can just throw money at it and fast track it to production. So it's going to be interesting to see when or if this happens, but I wouldn't plan on seeing it before 2020. I mean, 2020 is basically tomorrow at this point. So it's going to be early 2020s, I would say.
Wow, and that's really soon. I take a look at one of the comments. Brian says, "Rideshare iVans, that would be cool." Yeah, I think it's an exciting area for tech and for automotive, and just to see how Apple's going to fit in that landscape. And like you said, they have the money. They can buy their way into pretty much whatever they want. But they want to do it right, and so it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there. Well, Ronan, thank you so much for joining us here. I know you're on every couple of weeks, bringing us up to date. There's so much happening. I think the next time we talk to you will be after the Geneva Auto Show, or maybe even during it. I don't know, but I know you're going to be really busy. But just looking forward to seeing all the coverage of that. And how can people follow you? You know, outside of your digital trends articles, what's the best way to follow you on Twitter or social media?
Yeah, Twitter.
And what's your handle again?
European Car News.
European Car News. So right there, European Car News. Follow Ronan. Ronan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. See you soon. All right, well, there we go. Ronan Glon bringing us up to date with everything in the world of automotive and tech. It's always so exciting because there's so much happening in that space, and we try to keep you up to date on everything here at Digital Trends, so follow along with that. Just kind of recap what we've had on the show today. We had Adrian Warner in here earlier talking about some of our Mobile World Congress coverage, which that is ongoing. We have teams on the ground in Barcelona right now. Follow along, stay up to date with that. I know we're going to be having our awards for it, but if you want to find out about the foldable phones, you want to find out about all those different things that are happening over there, definitely check our coverage. We've got a whole section just for that. Then we had Jason Dodier on talking about Shoperr, talking about how they're influencing the influencer marketing scene, I guess might be the way to say it, but changing how that's done all the way down to nano and micro influencers as they coin them. And that is something that's really interesting just to see how that space is developing. Tomorrow on the show, we've got Drew Prindle back in here. Drew, our emerging technologies editor with a company called Appeal. Now Appeal, they are looking at ways to basically give fruit and vegetables a second skin to make them last longer. So using tech to basically increase the length that our food can last before it spoils, which is a really cool use of technology. So they'll be here live with us tomorrow, and we broadcast live every day, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you all of these tech headlines and news, and digitaltrends.com will keep you up to date the rest of the day as well. But hit subscribe wherever you're finding us, whatever platform you're watching this on, hit that subscribe button so that way you get the notification every day when we do go live, which I said is 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Always here with you, keeping you up to date. Thanks so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. I love hanging out with all of you. I'm Greg Nibbler, and I'll talk to you tomorrow with more Digital Trends Live.